Welcome to our first episode of the On Track podcast. Today I would like to welcome Bree and Darian. I'm Andrew, and we will be discussing the cause and effect of climate change. We would like to thank On Track for supporting the production of this series, in which we will be discussing topics that are both relevant to our past, present, and future, and that are also interesting. Well, what comes to mind when you hear the word climate change?
The fact that there's no snow in Alaska right now.
There's no snow in Alaska?
Well, there is, but not like regular Alaska.
Last time I went to Alaska, I think it was about 6 or 7 years old, and everything was covered in snow.
Yeah, like satellite view of Alaska, and it's always mostly white, like 90% white. It's 90% green.
It's intense.
How Hawaii got snow, and the Sahara got snow for the second time. Because the last year Egypt got snow, and that's right next to the Sahara.
So I'll write down to the exact definition. What is climate change?
The changing of the world's temperatures.
What causes it?
Us, pollution.
Well, how does pollution cause it?
Because pollution is bad for the environment and everything, and the earth in general.
Well, from what I understand, climate change is caused by greenhouse gases entering our atmosphere. Then when the sun's rays come in, they can get in through the greenhouse gases, but they can't escape out past the greenhouse gases, which slowly basically cooks the earth. It causes rising temperatures every single year.
But see, it's not just rising temperatures, it's also dropping temperatures. It's getting a lot colder in the winter than what I'm used to. Because I've been to places where it snows maybe once every couple years, and now they're getting snow every single year, and the temperatures are slowly dropping.
So would you say global warming is a bad term?
Yeah.
No.
I'd say climate change is the best term, because it's just everything's being affected.
And when I was younger, I always heard the term global warming, and I thought it sounded kind of silly.
It does kind of sound silly.
But also because adults everywhere told me that it was fake. It was created by lobbyists that wanted to make more money off of laws and limits to how much certain companies could produce because of their output of pollution. But as I get older, I realize how real it is and how much it's going to affect me and my kids and my kids' kids and so on.
That's if they even last that long.
That's true. That's so nice to think about.
I'm sorry. It's just with the fact of global warming and how quickly it's happening and how much we're doing about it, which is basically nothing. Mm-hmm. It's really just kind of tearing the world apart.
Yeah. And I think we can still save it.
Well, yeah, but it's the fact of getting people to save it.
Yeah. Oh geez, I'm looking at a satellite picture of Alaska right now, and you were right.
It's very sad.
That's scary.
It is scary, and it's a fact of, I think it was, somebody said that LA was supposed to get snow in the next week.
LA?
LA. And I was that just weird. Doesn't shock me because of the fact that, all these really warm places are getting snow, and they never have before. Well, not never, but yeah, it's not common.
So I hear a lot of people say, it gets really cold. Like today, it was 3 degrees this morning. They're like, well, how does climate change exist? It's really cold right now. There's no global warming. It's 3 degrees.
Yeah, but it's the fact of it's getting colder. Oh. Like the U.S., for example, I don't think most places, they don't really hit the negatives. Some places do, obviously.
A lot of the northern states do.
Yeah.
Minnesota or Washington. Every once in a while.
But not lately, it's been every year you're hitting negative.
Yeah. Well, this year, I wouldn't be surprised if we got to the negatives, soon. Within next couple of weeks. Well, the other night, it said it was 16 degrees. There's no way. Yeah, I swear, it was -5. That's what it felt like.
There's always a thing on the weather where it says 16 feels like 4.
Yeah. So I'm looking on NASA's website right now, and they have something pretty interesting. It says the planet's average surface temperature has risen about 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the late 19th century. Change driven largely by increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions into the atmosphere. Most of the warming occurred in the past 35 years, 16 of the 17 warmest years on record occurring since 2001. Not only was 2016 the warmest year on record, but 8 of the 12 months that make up the year from January through September, with the exception of June, were the warmest on record for those respective months.
See, it's also like the fact that the season, they're kind of like changing. I think of fall as like September to November,
Yeah.
when in reality it's like from September to February, and then you get like February to April, it's like winter. Kind of makes no sense.
Do you have anything to say, Darian? How do you feel about global warming?
Sometimes it gets too cold.
Well, I know you have different views than maybe some of the other people in this group, so
That's an actual problem.
yeah.
Other things aren't problems. Well, they're still problems, but they're made up by people. And
Well-
people cause the problems. But that's
Wouldn't you say
That's like
global warming is a people-caused problem?
yes and no. I mean,
What do
you
you
can't
mean?
have an Earth or a planet for super long time and not have something change.
Well, yeah, but
You know,
that change is because of us.
probably not all the way.
Oh.
I mean, plants have been growing for forever,
Yeah,
and plants have helped that, and so have things
they've
dying.
helped. They've helped what? With climate change?
Yeah.
But I feel like
Well-
if you like step back and take away human life form and just have it the plants
Plants and maybe like
and animals, like stuff like
Yeah.
that, but just take
not
away
sentient
humans, it'd be a lot better than it is now, because we're not here. We're not using cars, we're not using oil, we're not burning fossil fuels and everything.
the thing
Yes,
about
but-
plants though is they produce oxygen and absorb carbon monoxide.
But they have to have animals to be able to do that. If there aren't animals, then there's no problem. But there are, and
Well,
animals poop,
Which creates methane.
which create
But some plants absorb methane, and methane can actually contribute to a more healthy atmosphere in moderation. And the thing is, well, okay, so like a radioactive power plant, their smokestacks produce a lot of pollution, if that's the word you want to use. Say a bear in the woods eats some plants and poops.
it's on a different scale. It didn't say it
I don't
was
think it
huge.
compares though. I don't think animals,
But there's a lot more animals than are cooling towers.
cars, power plants, factory equipment that produces exhaust, people smoking, even, all that stuff. I could name more. How many of those things produce poisonous exhaust?
Everything,
Exactly.
pretty much everything on the earth.
Pretty
does.
much everything man-made produces a substantial amount because there's so much, in modern civilization. Go out into the woods, you're not going to see a bear driving a truck that runs on diesel.
Lovely example.
Exactly.
That'd be funny to see.
That'd be pretty awesome, but if I saw that, I'd probably believe Elon Musk because he thinks we're living in a simulation. So another thing that's pretty important is recently there were sheets of permafrost melting that released diseases humankind hasn't seen in a very long time. I think it was in Greenland where one melted and it had a bunch of anthrax in it that killed a small population of deer. And scientists have found samples from other sheets of permafrost of the bubonic plague and polio even. And we're worried that maybe, there's diseases that humankind has never encountered before trapped in the ice that hasn't melted because the earth was cold enough to keep it frozen. That's another problem with global warming, is not just crops dying and animals dying, and maybe humans will die, not just because we won't be able to produce enough food, but because we will encounter diseases that we don't know how to protect ourselves against.
We've never had those before. They've all been gone for thousands of years. Maybe not like few hundred years. So-
Maybe you could say thousands.
Yeah, probably thousands of years, and
Yeah.
we've never had to deal with them. Not like today, where we have a cure. Well, not necessarily a cure, but help for different diseases like the flu or cancer. I'm actually surprised that bacteria could live that long in the ice, but
Well, it's
actually-
frozen.
Yeah, I know, but
It's like,
been doing a research paper on that, and it turns out that they survive on sulfate, I believe, and iron, which was really weird.
so another thing with global warming because there's so many great things. This is from NASA's website again. It's about ocean acidification. And it says, since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the acidity of the surface ocean waters has increased by about 30%. This increase is the result of humans emitting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and hence more being absorbed into the oceans. The amount of carbon dioxide absorbed by the upper layer of the oceans is increasing by about 2 billion tons per year. Oh boy. That reminds me of the Great Barrier Reef and how that's dying and we might not be able to save it, which sucks because it shelters or is home to a lot of aquatic life. And I know a lot of farmers will, they get their oysters and stuff from it.
Well, that wraps up our thoughts on climate change. Thank you, Darian, Bree, and Skylar, our production guy, for taking the time to talk about this issue. We would like to once again thank On Track Academy for giving us the opportunity to create this podcast. We hope you all have a great day, and we're looking forward to next time, where we'll be talking about net neutrality.